truth be told, anytime I say the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup, I like always cringe and I say like, I know it's so cheesy, but it's so true, which means I don't feel in alignment fully with that saying. And it hit me so hard, so deeply, of this mindset shift around pouring from an empty cup. So hear me out, because I think it's really going to help you so much. So I've been doing what I call CEO Alignment Week. This is actually one of my VIP days that I do with VIP clients. And you don't feel like you need CEO alignment, but it is everything. It is everything. If it wasn't needed, then every single CEO, aka business owner, would be a bazillionaire and be super happy. If we didn't need CEO alignment, then that would be our reality. So there's so much more than just creating offers, right? So much more than the money-making marketing. It is truly making sure we have pure alignment through you, for you, with your business, just as if your business is an actual human, right? So it's like first alignment with yourself, then alignment with your business, so everything can work together. So I want to talk about this saying, you can actually pour from an empty cup, but do you want to, right? So that, like I said, that saying has never like felt good to me, because I'm like, I just cringe every time. I'm like, I know it's cheesy, but here is why, okay? We actually do pour from empty cups all the damn time. Like, think about it. When your kids need something, if your kids need something and you're empty, you're depleted, you're exhausted, typically, especially if it's something that your kids need, like they need food, or they need bathed, or they need, help with their homework. Even if you are empty, even if you are tired, you are going to do it, which means you are pouring from an empty cup, right? It doesn't feel good, right? You're exhausted. They can feel that, right? All of the things, but you still do pour from an empty cup, right? So here is a new mindset shift for you, okay? We pour from an empty cup for everyone else. Now, when it comes to doing something for ourselves, so let's say you wanted to go for a run, or you wanted to do the dishes because they were bothering you, or you wanted to like work on your marketing, or you wanted to, what's another thing that doesn't get completed typically? If you wanted to like, hang out with your significant other, or do some housework, something that would be just normally for you, right? That typically does not happen when we have an empty cup, okay? So here's how we fix it. We create this overflow, okay? Because when you create that overflow, everyone, including you, wins, right? So how do we create that overflow is going to look different for each and every human, but think of what lights you up. Think of what gives you joy. Equally, think of what drains you. Because when we pour into your cup with things that feel good, things that give you joy, things that energize you, if we still have things that are draining you, almost think of the things that are draining you as they're going to subtract by 10 every time you put five points in of the joy, the fun, the excitement. So you're always going to be at a deficit, right? When we are constantly continuing to do things that drain you, right? Being around people that drain you, things that drain you, overwhelm, right? So the fastest way to start creating overflow is truly releasing slowly everything that is weighing you down, because that alone is going to make room for so much overflow, more overflow than you even may know that can happen right now in this moment, right? And so when we can actually do this, Then when your kids need you, your significant other needs you, you need you, you are going to fly through things more than you ever have before, right? Like your kids need homework help. Oh my gosh, let's do this. Let's make it fun, right? Because you have filled up your cup. Right now, this overflow is happening. And when you can continue to keep that overflow happening, like almost think of like a fountain, right? The fountain, as long as the fountain is like turned on, if it's like an electric fountain that you get on Amazon, it's just going to keep going. Now, when you unplug it, it's going to stop, right? So your job as the CEO, your responsibility is to keep that overflow flowing, meaning that the plug stays plugged in, right? So we get to be this force field more than you ever have before to create so much alignment for you that is never ending, right? And we can always go deeper. We can always align more and more and more. And the reason why that is because you are evolving every day. My needs for today are different than yesterday, right? And they'll be different next week. And so this is why this is an ever-going process, just as much as health and fitness is. Like, even when you lose the weight, you got to maintain, you've got to keep it off, right? You want to build muscle, right? And it's so much more than just losing weight. It's like staying healthy so we can live as long as possible, right? So this is not just a one and doneer. This is like we keep doing it, but in the beginning is when it typically feels like the slowest. It feels like is it happening? Is it not happening? But once we create this avalanche of the overflow, you're not going to want to stop, right? Which is why this is one of my VIP days for clients, because there's so much that we can do here. So think of things that are bothering you. Like, this is such a good place to start. You could literally write down everything that's bothering you right now. It can be big, it can be small, it can be anything and everything. Like, literally just asking yourself, like, what's bothering me right now? Like, what just doesn't feel good? And you can say things that are in and out of your business, but we want to get that inventory, because that's going to be such a great place for you to start. So that way we can move forward and get you in such pure alignment that it like inevitably creates that overflow for yourself and for others. And this is the biggest act of self-care, like truly the biggest act of self-care. I'll give you some examples from my own personal life, because that's how I teach. Okay. So I have no problem ever doing something for my house, doing something for my kids, doing something for my husband, doing things for my clients. Even if I don't feel the greatest or I'm tired, I'm going to show up for them, because it's so easy for us to show up for other people. But for so long of this year, I was so tired from postpartum, Boone not sleeping, right? So like I kept putting off working out. I kept putting off like goals in my own specific business, like things that I want to do, things that I want to create, just systems, all the things. I just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off because I was pouring from pretty much an empty cup, right? And again, you can still do it. Does it feel the greatest? Not necessarily, right? Do we do what we have to do? Absolutely, but we can choose again, right? Like, I don't ever want to let somebody I love down or a client down, but it doesn't mean that I can't choose again, right? And here's the coolest part about this. When you actually do choose again, everyone wins more. My clients are like quantum leaping more than I've ever experienced them quantum leaping. Do I feel like I'm a part of that? Absolutely, right? We are literally all in a force field together. And so when I rise, my clients rise with me, and vice versa, right? Like, that force field is so strong. Even my marriage, like, we literally like drove home from the beach and just talked the whole time in July. Like, that was like when the overflow was starting, right? And so we can always choose again. And that ultimate form of self-care is what you deserve, right? And so it can be so easy to feel like, well, this is as good as it's going to get, Like I have to live like this. I have to operate like this. And I just want to be that beacon of hope, beacon of light, that there's another way. Another way. You don't have to give up what you desire. You don't have to give up your needs and wants. You can literally pave your own way with ease, flow, and fun, and truly do it at a pace that feels good to you to get to the results that you desire, and it feel good the whole time. That is like the biggest thing that I want you to take away from this, is it gets to feel good the whole time. And when you're pouring from that empty cup, it doesn't feel good the whole time, right? It does not feel good at all the whole entire time, and even after, right? Sometimes kind of like think of childbirth, like it doesn't feel the greatest, but then you get like the reward of the baby at the end. There's like not necessarily even that at the end, right? It's just this cycle that continues, and the deeper you go, and the harder it is to get out of that cycle based on my experience, right? So the same is true about overflow. If an empty cup creates more of an empty cup, an overflowed cup creates more of an overflowed cup, right? So flow creates more flow, which creates more flow, which creates more flow. And this is when you get to like this universe, this reality that is so different that most people don't get to experience, which breaks my freaking heart, but you can create it, right? No matter what is in your bank account right now, no matter what your workday looks like right now, you can and get to create it in your mind first, and then we get to create it in the actual physical realm second, right? It is literally a requirement for it to happen. Anything can happen when we create it in our mind first. We decide, we take aligned action, right? And we do it with ease, flow, and fun. It feels good the whole time, and you get there, and then that cycle repeats over and over and over, and you go deeper and deeper and deeper in a good way, right? And that's when you get to this whole new reality that you're like, whoa, I did not even know that this existed, right? And then like it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper and better and better and better. And if you think I'm bananas, you can think I'm bananas, but I'm living in this world, and I want as many people in here playing with me as possible. Doesn't mean everything is perfect. No, I had a emotional meltdown 2 days ago, right before I started my period, and that's normal, right? Like it's how you choose to live in the world, right? So it doesn't mean everything's perfect, but I acknowledged my emotions, I released them, I honored them, I didn't shame them, and that is different than in the other reality, right? So it's a whole different world over here. Maybe you're already in here. If you're already in here, let's play together and create more overflow. And that's the beauty of doing things together. And so that alignment is so important. And when you can look at a list of things that are bothering you, that don't feel good, that are overwhelming you, that are draining you, in your biz, in your life, whatever it is, it all matters, whether it's big or small, it all matters. And slowly, one by one, when we can start to release those things, right? Some are going to be easier than others, and that's normal. But when we can start to release those things, then the magic starts to happen, because you actually have room for overflow. Think of a cup that has a bunch of rocks in it. There's only going to be able to be so much water in the cup, right? Versus an empty cup that we can fill water in. We're going to be able to get more water in there. Okay. So I'm super excited for you to experience this. If you are wanting a VIP day where we can do a huge deep dive into this and so much more, let me know as soon as possible. I have a few VIP days for the next quarter coming, and would just love to go deep with you, support you through this. And we do this in a very practical way that actually gets results, right? So this is not just woo woo, hype you up. This is like, okay, let's get down to business. Let's look at that list. Let's start taking action, check in with you, your nervous system, how you're feeling. And then we take those teeny tiny baby steps towards where you're wanting to go, and it feels good every step of the way. And then you start to get this like really juicy momentum that you don't want to stop. Like, you don't want to stop. And that's my mission, like getting you that momentum. It finally clicks in place. I've experienced this so many times where it's almost like this on switch. It like clicks in place and you're like, oh, it is true, right? She wasn't just blowing smoke up my butt. Like, this is true. And then you're like, as soon as you have that, your brain is like so much more on board. And then it's like, you feel like you go so fast, and then people around you are kind of like, what is going on, right? Like, you're so like different, you're changing, you're evolving, and it feels fast to everyone else because you were doing so many things before that moment. And it's like, oh my gosh, the rest is history. The rest, like, do I need to say any more, right? And that's when literally everything becomes easier. I used to force myself to do reels. I used to force myself to reach out to dream clients, or anyone in particular, right? I used to force myself to go to networking events. I used to force. And it felt awful. And I was pouring from such an empty cup and wondering why it all felt awful, right? Well, it was because I was pouring from an empty cup and it felt awful. I was forcing things. I was resisting. And when you can finally just have that true surrender and clear the way, make room for the overflow. I do reels multiple times a day without even trying, right? Like, I reach out to dream clients without, like, in the line, like in a wait, like in my car, waiting in line at Target, right? Like waiting in line at Starbucks. Like, it's just a part of me now, and there's no resistance. And I always acknowledge what feels good. Whatever doesn't feel good, I clear it as quickly as possible. And this is creating that flow, that overflow that just is not stopping, and it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and it's creating more and more overflow. And that's what I want to help you create. And I want you to feel what this feels like, because even when the days aren't perfect, when there's still like, I still have kids that, you know, fight with me, and I have a period and all the things, like, life is still not perfect, but it still feels different, and I navigate things differently, especially challenges. And that's the most important part of all of this, is CEO alignment. When it feels good, it feels fucking good. And when things are challenging, you don't get emotionally derailed. You just like take a deep breath and like you boss up, and you're like, okay, I know exactly what I need to do. I've got the tools, the resources, and we move forward with ease, flow, and fun. So it's like, it doesn't even derail you. It's just like, okay, cool, let's go, right? Let's go. So I'm so excited for you. If you want a VIP day on CEO alignment, we also do VIP days on offer creation and offer refinement, meaning like we tweak or modify an offer with you. And then also the money making marketing side, where it's like we take that offer and we create the money making marketing that's going to actually help it sell. So those are like our 3 main VIP days that we focus on. Obviously, if there's more that you need, we can like customize it to you, but those are like the 3 main buckets that I love to go deep with in VIP days. And we can accomplish at least 1.5 of them, if not go like super deep in one, depending on you. So we do a prep call for the VIP day, so we have a clear game plan going into it, and then we have the VIP day and give you the next steps at the end of that VIP day. So I love you so much. All about overflow, all about alignment. This is the stuff that is going to help you get to every single goal that you desire without forcing anything. Truly, it's huge. All right, I love you. Have a great day.